Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Victoria 3 run as the UK. Again, not sure how long we're going to continue this run, but it is a little bit interesting to try and push it as far as we can. Maybe we'll do like a France run if people are interested in, just to try and compare and contrast these two, where I really think that it's kind of between these two powers and to a lesser extent maybe the USA regarding who is the strongest start, but really explosive. We're up to 1,500 construction. This is, it's been a while since we got 1,500 construction, I think, within the first 20 years, and it is largely off the back of what seems to be kind of the UK's unique position. That was mainly what we did last episode, in addition to kind of a little bit of a failed war against Russia, where we kind of sided with the Ottomans, but we got enforced out, just being decayed out because there was no war goals. So next time we'll probably look to try and lead the war goal, or lead the war against Russia. That way we can't get enforced out, or have Russia be the leader of a war that we join, because if Russia's the leader of the war, instead of, you know, something like Wallachia, Russia will put in war goals against us, so we can't get enforced out down to zero off the back of kind of nothing here. But I think that this episode we're probably going to win the Great Game. They should be decaying out kind of at a decent clip. We can look to put more GDP stuff in here, pump up Persia a little bit. When we do build in Persia's capital, which is kind of where we've been building because we don't want the revs to reset. I'm not even 100% sure that revs reset ownership, but we are cranking up their GDP a little bit. They can buy these art buildings. They're up for sale for anyone, but if they refund us, this seems fine. We can see that one of the financial districts in Shaanxi has actually purchased this, which is a little bit interesting. We'll see how well they play. They don't have Atmo engine yet, though, which is a little bit unfortunate. And maybe this episode, maybe we can get a bankroll from Austria and get the full over 1 million Diplopact, which would be kind of an insano number. The Diplopact's really driving, the bankrolls are really driving a lot of this ability to build like this, because we're at minus 250k, and our Diplopacts are giving us, you know, like 800,000, so we're effectively running a $1 million budget deficit if we were to just lose all of our bankrolls instantly, which of course is not sustainable. But is our investment pool growing? No, it's not even growing. We're just cranking. We're cranking and we're stanking. So we had an agitator arrive, and he's not going to join us start a political movement. And I think what's going on here is, I think you can only have maximum 3 political movements at once, or sorry, is it 3 political movements at once. We have 1 for preserve poor laws, 1 for enact wage subsidies. We might, for example, actually bomb out on this and actually intentionally stop passing wage subsidies, which will make these guys revolutionary, and then we back down to them. This might be something we do. But now this agitator, he would agitate for something, except for he can't, which is a little bit awkward. Kind of want to exile this positivist too, but we're not going to at this current juncture. We really would rather this Republican agitate for something useful. But if we decide to back down to this rev, it's not going to actually change us onto any type of different laws. I think that what happens is they start, the trade unions, I think, start caring about governance principles after you research socialism or something. I can't remember. I think they eventually start caring about governance principles, but right now they don't care, so they won't flip us onto Council Republic if we abdicate to their rev, which we might be doing sometime soon. Also, kind of in the cards for this run is we could go theocracy. This is not absolutely insane, except it kind of is insane. And the group that we would want to get in charge on the theocracy, I would think is... Actually, you know who we want to really get in charge? We want Charles Dickens in charge. And the reason we want him in charge is because he's cautious and literary, and these are 2 of the very best traits. Having them together on one person is absolutely insane. Also, these other traits aren't exactly bad traits either, so we'd really love to, you know, get Mr. Dickens in charge. I think this has been the most inactive EIC we've ever seen in terms of going after subjects, and so the fact that we're leaving them as a dominion so that they hopefully do this is maybe not so useful, and they would be paying us more in terms of getting Diplopacts if we reduced autonomy on them, like quite a bit more. Man, they're giving us a whole lot, and so I think we're going to reduce autonomy on them. We're just going to take a quick look through and see, is there anyone else we would rather reduce autonomy on? Someone like Mexico, where we are looking to annex them kind of in the nearish future. And so we see that we could reduce autonomy on both Mexico and Persia, and so maybe we would prefer that, because I think that you know, over the longer term we will want to annex these guys. So let's take a quick look at Mexico. Mexico doesn't have too much population yet. This is kind of the thing that we're looking at, is the annexation cost on these guys is going to be a function of population, but also if they're recognized, unrecognized. So I think that we're actually going to reduce autonomy on Mexico, and then exempt them from service, and then maybe if we can do that with Persia as well. We can also annex Peru, which would maybe be reasonable, but okay, let's first decrease autonomy on Mexico or Persia, whichever we're looking at currently, and then with these guys we will also exempt from service, although we might at some point pull them into one of our plays. We can do that manually, and then we see Mexico is now up to 26, so we can't reduce it on them. Unfortunately, this is going to kick us into a higher bracket. Are they embargoing us? What the hell? Is that allowed? How are you allowed to embargo us, bro? I guess they can't break the pact. That's cute. But also, if we take a look here, this kicks Burma up into a much higher tier. I think we're going to reduce Burma's subject payments in order to try and make them get under that tier, because that makes it more likely for them to rev. We're still funding lobbies with Burma, so over a long period of time, Burma should chill out quite a bit and, you know, recognize the good, strong hand of Victoria, which is probably going to go away soon. This is going to be super good for us. Trade unions join the Anti-Russian League. The Anti-Russian League, we are going to increasingly be able to keep satisfied, and then not only that, we are going to get a decreased cost on stuff like our embargo with them. Currently they're not very satisfied at all, but we're going to be fighting Russia, we're going to be mixing it up with Russia, and so having the additional people in the Anti-Russian League is going to be fantastic. If we can stack like 5 or 6 in here, this will be really good for us, because we'll essentially have a nemesis that is giving us an enormous amount of, you know, positive approval, which is going to be good. We could take a quick look around. We do see we have like one positive or a couple positive groups in Prussia. We have one in Hanover. We have one in British Loyalist Association, which is a little bit awkward because we did subjugate them. We see France has a pro-British association, British Union Party coming in here. So a lot of the actions we have been taking like throughout the early game have been just to try and foster this. And we're seeing that the AI, despite this being the Thunderdome patch, is not very aggressive, at least towards us. Alright, so the Industrialists unfortunately have joined this Poor Laws Rev. We were looking to kind of thread the needle for a longer period of time with the idea that we wanted to promote Garibaldi to government, which we can in 21 months, and use this guy to make it so that when we abdicate to the trade unions, we would actually swap onto a presidential republic. Now what we have to do is, I'm thinking what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to stop this. We are going to, or at least on the next tick, we can't resuppress, but on the next tick, or right before the next tick of this revolution, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to stop this law pass, and then get ready to abdicate to the Poor Laws revolution that will inevitably follow, because this is going to be a massive movement, especially now that Garibaldi's kind of at the helm. I don't think that him being a part of this makes it so that he supports, you know, kind of what he likes here, but he likes presidential and parliamentary republic, which would allow us to force in the law. Base trade unionists do not support presidential / parliamentary, unfortunately, nor council republic, which I think they get this at some point, but they don't support any of these, and so they won't be enforced when we abdicate. So a little bit of awkward situation. So we also unlocked mutual funds, which unlocks publicly traded for financial districts. I think that this tech is probably a lot better than it used to be, because what it does is it effectively swaps the ownership from being, split between shopkeepers and capitalists to now capitalists are the only ownership class left in here. Clerks and bureaucrats are not owners, and so this means we're going to be getting better investment pool contribution efficiency. So if we take a look, we're currently changing the investment pool by plus 300k. Let's take a little bit of a swap and see how this changes if we just let it go to a Monday. And guys might have to re-employ and this sort of thing. We see it's up about 6 or 7%, something like that, which is quite a big kick up already without them needing to employ up. I'm just not sure if it's going to get even higher. We are keeping an eye on that rev because we do have to do stuff in response to it, but it looks like, okay, it went up, kind of another 20k, but I'm pretty sure that a big chunk of that 20k is just kind of free money, dead money. And also, interesting to think about, well, where is the wealth concentration in our country? We see that the home counties have 146 levels of, ownership or financial districts. Midlands, which is one of the places we are cranking up really hard, 233. West counties, not really a place that we're cranking up that hard. But we have built a little bit in West County. They're at 160. We see that where is Beijing and Shaanxi pretty low. Is it really Lancashire? People are correcting me on the pronunciation of that. It looks like really don't have that many districts. And so what I'm kind of curious about is, and what I've been trying to figure out is, why do some places just absolutely blast and get super, super big, while other places do not get as big? Because Lancashire we have a ton of profitable financial districts there. Why are these ones more profitable, and why are we getting to buy way more buildings here? Is it because that our baseline buildings are a little bit more profitable? I think we have more pop here. We are starting to have a really big heartland here in terms of pop, because we are encouraging migration here, and so these places are starting to come up quite a bit. But this is something that I need to try and figure out and investigate a little bit more, but is definitely a question that's on my mind, is what is the biggest driver for financial districts spawning in one place instead of another? I think a big one of them is pops, I think just pop size. Also, I think urban centers, if I'm not mistaken, there is some are there any shopkeepers in urban centers? Because shopkeepers are an ownership class, and so if shopkeepers build financial districts, and if there are shopkeepers in the urban centers, then that would, make sense. And we do see that there are shopkeepers in the urban centers, so it might just be whichever place gets the most urbanization the fastest will tend to develop a lot more. We see there is more urbanization in the Midlands. We see there's a good amount of urbanization in the home counties. Home counties also starts with more financial districts, so they have a big head start, but I'm thinking that the urbanization may be a huge driver of this, and to that end, there are texts that increase, the amount of urban centers, like joint stock companies and investment banks. Investment banks we're probably going for next, where this can help you to come up more, because if the profitability of the services is the biggest driver, of your ability to spawn new financial districts, which I think it might be, because I don't know, also, if something is not government owned, nor is it privately owned, but is instead owned by the people, there are shopkeepers in every PM now. So if we take a look here, there are going to be a bunch of shopkeepers employed here. But other than that, I'm thinking that maybe one of the important drivers is going to be the urban centers. Actually, it's probably just the shopkeepers on all the buildings, so just having profitable buildings. But it is something that we're trying to think through and figure out. And so once you get going, though, you will snowball. We don't really have that many buildings, or we kind of have a lot of buildings in home counties, but a big reason why they are our number 2 financial district center, I think, has to do with the fact that most of our financial districts started out in the home counties, and so they're just going to be kind of a little bit rich forever. There wasn't really a good way for us to save Prussia from their fate, so we joined the revolution, resetting relations with Austria. We're hoping that, again, we can use this to kind of massage stuff in our direction. The reason I think that they can't bankroll, someone was kind of commenting in the comments, as one comments in the comments, is they probably don't have central banking yet, which is why we couldn't get a bankroll from them. But we are going to see, Prussia be no more pretty soon and be replaced by the revolution, as one is. We have return Ruhr in here, because what we swayed in for was a little piece of Ruhr, which is going to be quite nice. It's going to give us, this is actually just kind of silly, but it is going to be a relatively good mappy state. We see that currently ownership ownership levels are being owned by Prussia. I'm wondering if the ownership levels go over to the new Prussia when they finish the war, and if they do, we would actually want to nationalize these now, except we can't nationalize because we're on laissez-faire. So even though laissez-faire overall seems the most explosive, we do see a couple of situations where it is maybe such that we would prefer that things be a little bit different. Like, for example, I believe we built a ton of vineyards. It looks like our manor houses are the ones picking them up, but we have built a bunch of stuff in Portugal, but it has been purchased by locals. Or, for example, we built most of the rice farms here in South Bengal, and a lot of the manor houses here, we're able to purchase them because they were already so built up and they had so much investment pool, and we can't do anything to stop that on laissez-faire. And so our attempt to gain leverage by investing in a country is significantly diminished by being on laissez-faire, but at the same time, we like free money, so yeah. So we complete the journal for Expand British India, which should move us along on the Great Game. Now the only one we have yet to do is disrupt the Caucasus, and more or less we're just waiting for Russia to declare on the Caucasus in order to get this, but we do see it is still making 2 average progress, and we are probably going to add a lot of GDP in the form of just expanding here in Punjab. Punjab is one of the very best states to expand in the entire game. We see that we also have the ownership of a lot of these things, expecting them to be scooped up now that we've taken this from Punjab. But in particular, they have subsistence farms instead of subsistence rice farms, which means you don't cause massive unemployment when you build there, and they have 20% agricultural and plantation throughput, off of their stuff, and they have the 5% mapping bonus. So it's actually just straight up one of the very best places to build in the entire game. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to look to push some stuff to economies of scale. We can see here the profitability. We don't have opium here, but the profitability on these are pretty high. So I think we're just going to crank that up to the current economies of scale cap. We're going to add a few railroads at the front of the queue here because we know we're going to need them and be able to use them to kind of swap around some PMs. And then I think we're going to, maybe economies of scale this out too. And our manor house guys will be able to buy this, but our manor house guys aren't going to be around too much longer, trying to get on to commercialized agriculture. Tenant farmers is not going to be able to do anything too substantive, and still waiting on Garibaldi to be promotable. 7 more months, and we should be able to abdicate to this wage subsidies rev. I mean, this is certainly one of the German leadership plays of all time. Alright, it's time to say goodbye. Smell you later to Victoria and the Victorian era. We are going to come in. We are going to promote to government dear Giuseppe, who, of course, now likes Presidential Republic and the like. And then what we're going to do is we are going to slot in these guys. We're going to slot out these guys. We're going to slot out these guys, too. We're going to be like, hey, this government's, that's not very legitimate. Of course it's not. And what we are going to do, I think we're, do we want to kneecap the Industrialists? We can kneecap the Industrialists a little bit if we'd like. And to be honest, I think that we like maybe a world where these guys are in charge because, of course, we have the good old Charles Dickens, our very favorite, so we will put this as our government. We're not worried about the Industrialists. We think that they're going to be just fine. We think they're going to be A-okay. And what's this? People are mad. Wait, why did you get so mad? What the hell? Failed petition? Because we slotted them out of government. Oh, geez, we could have done this forever ago just to... We could have done this forever ago off the failed petition, but now they are going to be having this revolution for wage subsidies and the rise of radicalism. Oh no, Giuseppe, terrible. We'll say, okay, big nice on the Giuseppe front. And let's take a look at all of our radicals. Let's see Paul Allen's radicals. We have 37 million radicals and less than 1 million loyalists. Oh no, this is terrible. But what we will do, it's because we've been running high taxes this entire time. We will abdicate. We will say, you know what, Victoria, we've had enough of this. Generally speaking, Victoria is actually kind of nice, at least before 1.7, because the popularity would mean a lot of authority, but since you're getting a lot of authority anyways, and monarchy kind of sucks, we will say goodbye to any semblance of RP, and we will say, Victoria, you know what, you did all this colonization, then you're like, whoops, my bad, you know what, I'm just gonna step down, you guys can take over. And we will get the hands thrown up, and we will pass parliamentary republic instantly. That's nice. And then we will also get wage subsidies instantly enacted. We will get minus, clout on all these interest groups, which is going to be fantastic for us. We'll say flee across the borders, and we'll say, okay, Giuseppe, you're in charge now. Now, I don't think we actually want Giuseppe in charge. I think we want, wait, Giuseppe's not in charge here? Oh, wait, I think we gotta... Wait, Giuseppe's king, not like this. Okay, Charles Dickens, that's more like it. So we will... these guys are still angry. They're still angry. Are they still insurrectionary? These guys are insurrectionary, unfortunately. We are bolstering them. They shouldn't be in just a moment, so I think we just need to wait for the game to think for a second. We want to get someone in who will like commercialized agriculture before something happens. Can we get Charles Dickens in charge? We can get Charles Dickens in charge. So Charles Dickens is now in charge, so we have the very, very nice cautious trait, along with the very, very nice literary trait, and we have, of course, have the Sisyphus trait, and he's also very honorable. Man, what a great guy. What an absolute Chad. Maybe we should just go back to monarchy with this dude. I mean, maybe. The prince who was promised, we could do it. We could rebuild him. And by him, I mean the correct way of looking at things. But okay, these guys will be really angry. You know what is really funny is we could actually abdicate. We could back down to these guys' inevitable revolution, and then with that revolution, go back to monarchy with Charles Dickens in charge, which would be big funny. We're kind of actually really tempted to do that. Wow, they're really angry. We can maybe pass something that they would like, but right now we're working on passing commercialized agriculture, which we're hoping to be able to get through pretty easy. Metropolitan police triggers instantly. That'll be nice. And radicalism, down by about half. And so this is going to decrease turmoil. It's going to allow us to construct more. And all of this is going to be really, really great for us overall. There's one more thing we wanted to do. We wanted to find some place to conquer, because we need to just rattle our sabers and show just how cheap infamy is for us right now. Alright. Hear me out. We thought about this a little bit, and we want to get onto monarchy anyways, and look who's insurrectionary. It's the petite bourgeoisie, and the petite bourgeoisie alone is currently insurrectionary, so this is a bit of a vibe for us, because we want Charles Dickens in charge anyways. Someone with literary and, I mean, we could tolerate having to have the petite bourgeoisie in government all the time if we get to have, in exchange for that, Charles Dickens, who we can abdicate in 30 years anyways when he's 74, or we can abdicate the next guy when the next guy comes around in however many years. And we still have a decent chunk of radicalism, and we can get rid of it if we want by resigning to this revolution to pass National Guard. Now, of course, we will lose guaranteed liberties, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. You know what's actually funny is this guy will start agitating almost certainly for presidential republic after or presidential only, right after we manage to finish this. But we can get Charles Dickens in charge, and we can get him in charge as a king, which will keep him in charge for an extended period of time. He's pretty young. He's not likely to die. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Why can't we do this? The Intelligentsia wants to join. These guys want to join the Charterist Party. I think that Charles Dickens will still be in charge of this party, so I think that we're okay with this. We're going to slot in the people we don't like very much. We'll get William is our new chancellor. Oh no. Dear William. Robert Peel. Wait. That doesn't look like William. Okay, it's Robert Peel. But we're going to resign this boyo from office. I think we're going to actually take a look at our industrialists first. Our industrialist generals real quick, because we want to make sure that we are resigning that guy into a general that we actually kind of like. So we have market liberal. We have this guy. None of these guys are popular. We have a popular market liberal. That's going to be good enough for us with a +3. Just as long as this guy... Okay, so, sure. So we should get another market liberal, which is kind of exactly what we want. We just don't want anything like a protectionist, and so we are going to resign this guy from office. We'll get hands thrown up again, and in the face of the coming storm, we will enact monarchy back again, and National Guard. We will get minus clout from these guys, which is fine with us. More industrialist radicals, oh no. And we will go from... We started with like 37 million radicals. Now we're going to drop again, passing National Guard. We have monarchy. And who is the monarch? Please, oh please, oh please. It is, of course, the boy wonder himself. Please, sir, may I have some more revolutions? That's a Charles Dickens reference for you. Or not revolutions, resignations. We've resigned ourselves into having more loyalists than we do radicals. The radicals are basically gone. Charles Dickens is in charge. And, you know, all is well in the world. And look at this, with 50% clout. Hell yeah, brother. That's how we drew it up. Now, oh, this is so absurd. Also, the bonus on this is actually pretty good, minus low interest rate, and of course we're in the bankroll meta where it's perhaps less important, but this is going to feel incredible. It already feels incredible. I'm so excited. We have Charles Dickens in charge. That's a nice little twist, if you will, to the thing. Who knew Charles Dickens could cause so much controversy? We do get a movement for... enact presidential republic, unfortunately, off the back of this agitator, whom we don't like very much anymore. We liked him before. I think we even invited him long, long ago. Speaking of inviting agitators, I mean, we can invite good old Victoria. as one can. But we're going to be helping out Circassia here and trying to hold on for dear life, because I think that what we're going to have to do is I think we're going to have to fight Russia and a Rev simultaneously. And because of that, we are maxing out, troops kind of in the home counties to try and utilize that. We are going to be also greatly increasing troops here in China because they're not incorporated. They won't be part of the Rev. And I'm hoping between the two of those that should be relatively effective. We also are promoting social mobility in both of these for a couple reasons. One, it's going to, qualifications are going to be really nice. And that's what's going to be nice right now. But eventually education access is going to be nice once they're incorporated, and so we want to get them highly literate because then that'll actually increase our literacy when they finish incorporating. We're currently working on incorporating both, I think, or we wish we were. No, we are. Okay, cool, perfect. We are getting quite a bit of extra bureaucracy from our very, very happy petite bourgeoisie, so we'll just go ahead and incorporate that as well. But with the armies from these two places, that should be able to help out a lot, and the qualifications are going to be important, at least for recruiting up officers, so we have a whole bunch of that in the queue. I think that we will go up, I don't want to cut it too close. We were just going to add like 60, but we're just going to add like... We're just going to add like a whole lot more. We're just going to add like, we're going to make this like a 200 stack, and just be like, well, you know... Come at me, bro, in regards to this revolution and fighting Russia at the same time. Otherwise, that's going to be just, like, super, super sketchy. But I think we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Normally, we kind of avoid revs because we're cowards, and we have no spine. But the things we'll do for Charles Dickens. Please, sir, may I have some more Charles Dickens? Of course, with Charles Dickens in charge, we get the Jewel in the Crown event. I'm not sure exactly what triggered this, to be honest. It might be us getting off of being, it's a jewel in the crown. Obviously, it's Dickens's crown, but we will get these guys. They just auto-become a puppet, and then Doctrine of Lapse is abolished, preserving the princely states, and enable appointed bureaucrats, laws, etc., good riddance to company rule, which they are going to be contributing a whole lot more to us. Wow, why are we making so much money? What the hell? Wait, why are we making so much money? How much are they giving us in Diplo packs, first of all? 56k. Yeah, that doesn't explain why we're making so much money. And what's going on, even? Oh, it's because we're getting stuff from these guys? I'm so confused. What happened? I'm actually really confused. We'll try and identify the problem. And by the problem, I mean the fact that we're making a ton of money. Okay, for some reason, we got goods for construction goods just collapsed in terms of price, and I'm not sure why, but that's the cause of this happening. I don't know if this is just has to do with reprivatizing or buildings being privatized that weren't privatized before, or something like this. You know, investment pool of the Raj actually spending a whole bunch or refunding us money for this, something like this. But that's just so strange. What if we wait a week? Does it just like go back down? Do we just get back to chill mode? Okay, so this is more reasonable, kind of back where we were before, but yeah, and then the goods are rebounding. All right, fair enough. That was a little bit strange. But we're about to get real weird with fighting a revolution, a massive revolution, because I'm pretty sure we can't prevent this. I mean, we're about to have an election, and in the election, it looks like the capitalists are just going to win the election. Looks like the other guys aren't even in it, really. It's super unfortunate. We really don't want the trade unions to get marginalized, so that would really kind of suck. We can't reform the government, really, because we can't bring the insurrectionary people in because they're insurrectionary. But I think we're going to conclude the episode here with the Red Band of Death. This episode, we did a little bit of moving, a little bit of shaking, kind of tried to focus a little bit on some of the newer mechanics, as well as ownership, and try and think our way through kind of exactly what's going on. But I think the big story, of course, is we traded Victoria for Mr. Charles Dickens, and we have an Intelligentsia following up. That's super nice. Of course he would raise an Intelligentsia kid after he's properly reformed the government. No one needs reformation once it's already done. He's honorable, he's literary, he's cautious, but really the big ones are literary and cautious together. It's just absolutely insane. We haven't been able to... Well, okay, we can take a look at what he can do, because we want to take states. These guys have two good relations, but we could see that we can protectorate them for just 16 infantry. This is Manchuria. We have multiplied by 25x due to the population of the target, because they have 3 states that are all maxed out. But we see we're getting minus 40% unrecognized, minus 20%. This is because of cautious, of course, Charles Dickens. Minus 35%. This is from colonizing and civilizing mission, and then minus 15% from level 3 colonial affairs. I don't know if these are stacking additively or multiplicatively. But okay, if they're stacking additively, what would this be? Minus 70%? That's a heckin' big drop in terms of overall price. So the base price would be 50, and now it's down to 16. I think that these are affecting each other multiplicatively. Not 100% sure on that, but in any case, this is dramatically reduced. I guess maybe the better litmus test is how much does it cost to take one Chinese state, and it's only 9 infamy to take a Chinese state. And this is before we have... Is it really 9? I thought it would be even less. Okay, well, it's still 9, so that's still a pretty good rate. And then we also are getting increased infamy decay, which we can't properly show right now from the literary trait. So really, truly, the man who wrote Oliver Twist is just the guy you want on charge if you want to go on a rampage, and you want everyone to think everything's okay while you're going on a rampage. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. You know, do the YouTube algorithm thing. We have links down below as well. And other than that, have a good one.